I had a crush on my senior for 3 years, only to witness him kissing my archenemy. After 3 years of rivalry with Alex Carter, I never imagined losing so utterly this way. Later, my family relocated. 8 years later, I returned covered in glory, only to receive news of Alex's death. At his funeral, his mother handed me a thick journal. May 9, 2038, that brat John confessed to Ryan. What should I do? June 5, 2038, Ryan's two-timing. He doesn't deserve John. September 16, 2038, John left. I won, yet lost. The final entry read, truth is, John was never annoying. He's the one I fell for at first sight. The business circle knew me and Alex Carter, CEO of Yuanjiang Group, as sworn enemies. No one realized he'd loved me for 8 years. Distracted, I got into a car accident. When I reopened my eyes, I was back in my college dorm. John. Rumor says Alex is getting his ass kicked by outsiders on Spring Blossom Road. Wanna go watch the show? John. The voice jolted me. Staring at the unfamiliar room, I froze. I distinctly remembered the car crash. How was I suddenly in my old dorm? Mike waved a hand before my face. Earth to John. You going or not? Seeing his youthful face, I pinched myself hard. Wait, not a dream. I truly returned to my college years. Which meant Alex. Ignoring Mike's startled look, I shot up. Mike, what's today's date? He blinked nervously. March 5, 2038? Dude, you okay? March 5th. What happened today? Memory flooded back. This was the day Alex fought those outsiders. I'd always thought he picked fights needlessly. Only after reading his journal did I understand. He'd done it to defend me. That day, I nearly missed the innovation competition because of gang harassment. Yet when I found Alex bloodied in that alley, instead of helping, I'd sneered. Look at you, Alex. Pathetic. His journal entry that night read, John's such a jerk. I'm hurting, and he kicks me harder. My chest constricted. Without explanation, I sprinted towards Spring Blossom Road, heart hammering against ribs, wind clawing at my face. One thought consumed me faster. Alex needs me. Rounding the alley corner, I found him slumped against brickwork, left side shrouded in shadows. The dim light caught the black cross earring on his left ear, glinting like a bruise. Everything around us was engulfed in darkness, much like that forbidden affection lurking in shadows. I approached him step by step, determined to pull him from this abyss. Alex lifted his gaze to meet mine, lips curling into a weak sneer. What's this? Did the great John come to mock me? Fresh bruises marred his face, his eyes betraying subtle tremors beneath their defensive glare. Even in his weakened state, he clung to that armor of hostility. When I remained frozen in place, Alex opened his mouth to snarl, only to choke on the words as I lunged forward, crushing him in a desperate embrace. Damn you. I choked out through sobs, clinging like a drowning man. Alex stiffened in my arms, confusion radiating from every tense muscle. I didn't care, I needed to feel his warmth, to erase the memory of that cold tombstone engraved with his photograph. My hands shook violently until the sensation of his breath against my neck anchored me to reality. He was here. Warm. Alive. Not yet the shattered body that would have stained the pavement after jumping from the 29th floor. Alex finally wrenched free, shoving me away with more theatrical force than actual malice. I landed hard on the concrete as he rose, reassembling his rebellious demeanor like armor. Think you can beat me with cheap seduction tactics? Pretty boy? His ears burned crimson despite the bravado. That shit doesn't work on me. Count yourself lucky I'm feeling generous today. Next time you pull this, I'll rip your damn head off. The familiar threat loosened the vice around my chest. This wasn't some fevered dream. Our bitter rivalry from university days still hung between us. Two alpha males clashing through lecture halls and corporate boardrooms, forever measured against each other by peers. My sudden vulnerability tonight must have seemed like psychological warfare to him. Years of polished professionalism evaporated in his presence. I'd spent lifetimes atoning for what I'd cost him, yet here I stood, bumbling like that hot-headed freshman again. The weight of unspoken regrets pressed heavier when Alex paused mid-retreat. With a grudging huff, he extended his hand toward me, the gesture contradicting his scowling facade. Get up. You'll make people think I'm bullying you. His outstretched hand hovered between us as my gaze slowly traveled up to his face. Alex Carter was pale, so pale that the angry red mark stood out starkly against his skin, the flush creeping up his neck impossible to hide. He bristled under my scrutiny, embarrassment curdling into irritation. "John, don't push your luck." Before I could react, his fingers closed like steel bands around my forearm, yanking me upright with unnecessary force. The violent motion deepened his blush. My heart ached even as amusement tugged at my lips. How had I never noticed before? Alex's affection blazed brighter than neon signs in Times Square. Yet I'd been blind to it through 2 lifetimes. "Alex," I said softly, letting genuine warmth color my words. "Thank you. For caring. For standing up for me." His breath hitched. For one suspended heartbeat. His eyes darkened with something primal, a hungry look that made my pulse stutter. I opened my mouth to clarify, but his grip suddenly twisted, slamming me against the alley wall. "Alex, stop." The familiar voice froze us both. My mind blanked as I stared at the newcomer, Ryan Clark, the man I'd secretly loved throughout college, the one I'd pedestaled as my untouchable first love. Alex's expression iced over instantly. Ryan flinched at the sudden Arctic hostility, sidling closer to me like a spooked colt. "Whatever John did," he tried, voice trembling with false bravery, "you can't just harass him like this." Alex's gaze flickered to me, fleeting vulnerability surfacing before being buried under layers of practiced nonchalance. "None of your damn business," he drawled, rolling his shoulders with exaggerated laziness. "Keep sniffing around my territory, pretty boy, and I'll rearrange that pretty face." He stalked off without backward glance. I didn't miss the wounded flicker in Ryan's eyes as he watched Alex leave, a look that struck me like lightning. Memories cascaded. In our previous life, Ryan had constantly warned me away from Alex under guise of protection. Yet every conversation somehow circled back to Alex's whereabouts, Alex's habits, Alex's. My blood ran cold. Had Ryan's concern never been about me at all? Could he actually? The pieces clicked with brutal clarity. The clandestine kiss I'd walked in on during senior year. Alex's conflicted silence afterward. Ryan's sudden transfer overseas. But if Alex returned my feelings now, why hadn't he pushed Ryan away then? The contradictions swirled like poison fog, each revelation breeding darker questions. I pressed trembling fingers to my temples, the alley walls closing in as decades-old deceptions unraveled around me. No matter how hard I struggled, I couldn't break free. The path ahead remained blurred. Ryan didn't notice my distress. After composing himself, he asked gently, "Are you hurt? If Alex bothers you again, don't shoulder it alone. I'll face it with you." Unlike Alex's sharp features, Ryan's facial contours were soft. His smile radiated warmth like spring sunshine. Every inch the gentleman. That face held dangerous charm. No wonder I'd been so infatuated in my past life. Yet now, all I could see were Alex's hollow eyes from earlier. My chest tightened inexplicably. Ryan noticed my pallor and reached out tentatively. "John, what's wrong? You look terrible. Are you ill?" I instinctively stepped back. Meeting his startled gaze, I said, "I need to go, senior." But when I rushed outside, Alex had already vanished, just like my previous life disappearing without trace from my world. Days passed in restless anxiety as I tracked Alex's movements. Though we shared the same major, he moved like a ghost. 3 days passed without sighting him. After rebirth, I had so much to say. Today I skipped afternoon lectures, staking out the campus gates. Finally I cornered him. "Alex, we need to talk." Ryan appeared down the path, then, "John, walk together?" Before I could answer, Alex wrenched free and strode away. Back at his apartment, he automatically glanced behind, empty air that he laughed bitterly. What was he hoping for, knowing full well? Then a hand yanked his wrist from behind, his pupils dilated, reflecting my determined face. "Alex Carter, I've caught you this time. You won't disappear from my world again." Alex never expected this pursuit. In his mind, Ryan would always be my first love. No matter his efforts. No matter how many lifetimes that I'd never notice him. Seeing Ryan earlier made his heart plummet. Only clenched jaws stopped him from dragging me away from Ryan. Sometimes he wondered why love someone who'd never reciprocate. He couldn't bear seeing my tenderness reserved solely for Ryan. So he fled. He never anticipated me abandoning Ryan to chase him. I didn't know Alex's thoughts now. Instinct drove me to grip his hand. My throat burned as I gasped for breath. "Don't go, Alex. Alex Carter." suppressed the emotions in his eyes. His tone was cold, yet he made no move to shake off my grip. That he looked utterly exhausted as he asked, "John, what the hell do you want? If you want to fight, wait till tomorrow. I'm not in the mood for your games tonight. My heart clenched. In our previous life, Alex had committed suicide due to depression. Though I didn't know how he viewed me now, some instinct told me I couldn't leave. My grip tightened on his wrist as my mind raced. What could I say? Telling him I didn't want him to die would probably make him think I'd lost it. When I remained silent, Alex finally lost patience. Shaking off my hand, he pulled out his keys to unlock the door. "Alex." I lunged forward in panic, only for sharp pain to shoot through my ankle. My face contorted as I stumbled. I was caught firmly in Alex's arms before I could fall. The worry in Alex's dark eyes betrayed him before he could school his expression. His arm around my waist trembled slightly with tension. "John, what's wrong?" In my haste to chase after him, I twisted my ankle without noticing. Only now, with the immediate crisis past, did the pain make itself known. Clinging to Alex, I put on a pitiful act. "My foot's killing me." "Alex, I heard it chasing after you. You have to take responsibility for this." This kind of fragile display would have been unthinkable for me before. But Alex seemed unexpectedly responsive. Though his face remained impassive, his ears turned crimson. The arm around my waist suddenly tightened as if he wanted to crush me against his chest. His breathing grew uneven. Before I knew it, Alex had half carried me back to his apartment, my first time seeing where he lived. Sitting on his couch, I surveyed the small one-bedroom. Contrary to his rough exterior, the space felt warm and meticulously kept. He'd clearly put effort into building a life here. How could someone like this have jumped from a high-rise without hesitation in our past life? He'd waited 8 years for me. I'd been days away from returning when he... Why? The sudden chill on my ankle made me jerk. Shit. Alex knelt before me with muscle relief oil. His cool hands gripped my foot. "Stop squirming. Let me treat this properly. If it doesn't heal, don't blame me later." As the cooling sensation spread, I studied his focused expression and finally asked the question that had haunted me through 2 lifetimes. "Alex, if you don't hate me, why were you always against me?" In my previous life, Alex had built an impenetrable wall around himself in my presence, making it impossible to glimpse his true thoughts. When Alex heard my response, his hand stilled momentarily before applying the antiseptic with deliberate pressure, the sudden sting forcing my brows to furrow tightly. He snorted derisively, rising with calculated leisure. His lips curved in that infuriating half-smile as he challenged, "What makes you so certain I don't detest you?" This version of Alex lacked the simmering hostility I remembered from our past life. The unexpected warmth in his expression sent an electric jolt through my chest. Damn him for being this attractive when he smiled. I coughed into my fist, scrambling to recover. "I just know," I insisted, the memory of that weathered journal from our previous timeline fortifying my resolve. Even if the whole world turned against me, Alex never would. My fingers moved of their own accord, brushing through his surprisingly soft hair, such stark contrast to his bristling personality. "Let's call a truce," I proposed, meeting his guarded gaze. "No more pointless confrontations. Let's try being friends." Though I couldn't reciprocate his deeper feelings, I was determined to rewrite his doomed fate. Alex froze momentarily before standing abruptly, his intense scrutiny burning into me. "Not happening," he countered, the corner of his mouth twitching. "You've got a talent for pissing me off. Makes me want to knock some sense into that thick skull of yours." Before I could process his accusation, he'd already disappeared into the kitchen. The savory aromas soon contradicted his gruff exterior. Alex's culinary skills remained exceptional despite his claim of throwing together whatever's edible. Even my spice-obsessed palate found satisfaction in his balanced flavors. "How'd you become such a good cook?" I asked around a mouthful of rice. His shoulders tensed almost imperceptibly. "Had to learn or starve," he shrugged, the casualness of his admission clashing with the sharp angles of his underfed frame. My chopsticks stilled as realization struck. In both lifetimes, I'd never seen any family besides that stone-faced woman at his funeral. The sudden clatter of porcelain startled me. Alex was yanking the chili oil dish beyond my reach. "John," he growled, "you think I don't know about your acid reflux? Choke on these peppers and I'm dragging your corpse straight to the morgue." I shot through my veins. How could he possibly know about my digestive issues already? We weren't supposed to be this familiar yet. My throat tightened as I watched him rearrange the dinner spread with forced nonchalance. That fleeting moment of protectiveness sparking dangerous hope. My gaze remained fixed on him without wavering. This wasn't my imagination. The current Alex Carter was different from the aggressive, brawling version in my past life. During college, Alex always wore a scowl that made his sharp features appear intimidating. Yet now, though still formidable, I noticed unfamiliar shadows of melancholy lingering beneath his brows, burdens no 20-year-old should carry. I'd always ignored my stomach issues to indulge in spicy food, collapsing once during junior year until strangers carried me to the infirmary. But how could Alex possibly know about this years before it happened? Had my presence triggered some butterfly effect? The question gnawed at me until bedtime approached without Alex returning to his room. Hopping on one foot, I pushed open his door. "Alex?" Silence answered until a muffled thump came from the storage closet. I flung the door open. "Alex? What's wrong?" The sight paralyzed me. Every inch of wall space displayed photos me napping on the quad, holding debate trophies. Countless candid shots of my profile at bus stops. My missing soccer ball and favorite fountain pen sat in the corner. At the center stood Alex clutching a black jersey, pupils dilating with panic as he tried shielding the evidence. "John?" His voice cracked. Trembling fingers attempting to hide the jersey, I instantly recognized the basketball tee that vanished freshman year. Easily wresting the fabric from his grip, I choked out, "Alex, why go through all this trouble?" My throat tightened, imagining the years spent secretly gathering these fragments of me. Alex stood statue still, face blanched like a condemned man awaiting execution. His icy palm brushed mine as I reached out, pulse so faint I feared his heart might stop. Every ragged breath screamed terror that I'd recoil in disgust. I studied his bowed head and rigid shoulders, knowing exactly what torturous thoughts raced through his mind. Though I'd suspected his feelings, nothing prepared me for this raw vulnerability laid bare. But when I finally saw this genuine affection, I found myself at a loss. In my past life, it seemed my entire existence revolved around loving Ryan. Even after learning he'd found someone else, I chose to silently remain by his side. Hell, the main reason I returned after studying abroad was because I couldn't shake him from my thoughts. It felt like some twisted programming, Ryan dominating every thought, every heartbeat. Then came Alex, the unexpected system reboot that shattered those obsessive patterns. That's why I couldn't bear losing him now. Seeing Alex trembling with his head stubbornly bowed, I forced casualness into my voice. "So you've been watching me that long? Explains how you know me so well. And you claimed you didn't want to be friends." I fully expected Alex's trademark defiance to kick in, that razor-sharp tongue to deflect with sarcasm. Instead, bloodshot eyes met mine as he surged forward, fists twisting in my collar. "John, you think I want friendship?" His voice cracked, raw emotion stripping away defenses. "Can't you see? I'm fucking in love with you. Head over heels. Can't breathe without you in love." The outburst left me reeling. My cheeks burned under this unprecedented assault of honesty. The Alex I knew had carried his feelings silently to the grave last lifetime. Why this seismic shift now? Before I could untangle my thoughts, bitter laughter escaped him. "Forget it." His grip slackened, retreating into that familiar armor of indifference. "Just pretend you never heard that." My mistake. Thinking I could. The sentence died as he turned away. "Take the bet. I'll crash on the couch. You should leave tomorrow." Something glinted in my peripheral vision as he passed, a single tear tracing his jawline. My hand moved before reason intervened, yanking him backward. Alex stumbled into me, the impact knocking loose another teardrop that scalded my skin. Even in vulnerability, he fought it, shoving against my chest with venom. "Enjoying the show, John? Got your ego boost watching me humiliate myself?" The desperation beneath the anger cracked something in me. Ignoring his struggles, I locked him in an embrace, startled by how fragile his frame felt. Alex, listen." The moment my arms circled his waist, his verbal daggers dissolved into choked silence. "You have no idea how much this means. But I'm not. There's someone better." "Bullshit." He snarled into my shoulder, fingers digging into my back even as he denied it. "Since when do you get to decide who I love? If you hate it so much, then let go." The contradiction screamed in every white-knuckled grip, his body betraying what words rejected. "Don't you dare let go," he muttered, his words contradicting the desperation in his grip. Memories of that journal from my past life flooded back, leaving me adrift. Did I not like Alex Carter? If that were true, why did my chest tighten when I saw him cry? Why did jealousy claw at me imagining him treating someone else with that same intensity? My resolve softened. Alex, I said quietly, let's try this. His breath hitched. For years, he'd watched me chase after Ryan Clark, yet here I was, choosing him. He lunged at this sliver of hope like a drowning man grasping driftwood, his wildfire eyes burning into mine. A mischievous impulse struck me. But first condition. What condition? His nose flushed pink as he searched my face, trembling like overstrung wire. I bit back laughter. Attend every lecture. No more skipping. From that day, Alex Carter became the most dedicated student at Northridge University. Professors teared up watching the campus troublemaker transform overnight. When Mike Brown finally worked up the courage to ask, John, what's going on with you two? During calculus, Alex snapped without looking up from his notes. Fuck off. Don't interrupt my lecture. The classroom froze. Alex stiffened, realization dawning. Under 20 pairs of shocked eyes, the fearsome campus king carefully laced his fingers through mine. This one doesn't count, right? He pleaded, voice cracking. I'll watch my mouth next time. I schooled my features into sternness. Every curse delays your probation period. His shoulders slumped comically. Across the aisle, Mike's jaw hung open. We cleared up some misunderstandings. I offered. Truce turned into something else. Ryan chose that moment to slam his textbook shut. What exactly does probation period mean, John? He demanded, pale as hospital sheets. Alex's glare could have melted steel. None of your goddamn, he caught himself, swallowing the curse with visible effort. My throat tightened unexpectedly. Though I'd moved on from my 3-year obsession, old ghosts lingered. Ryan's gaze, the same one that once followed Alex with aching longing, now pinned me like an accusation. I turned away, suddenly grateful for Alex's warm palm pressed fiercely against mine. Alex Carter seemed to notice my unease. He grabbed my wrist and glared coldly at Ryan. Get lost. Ryan's perpetually gentle face darkened with uncharacteristic hostility for the first time. Alex snorted arrogantly, shoving the professor's research assignment at me. You didn't explain this part clearly enough. For 2 years, Alex had barely attended lectures. But since our conversation last month, he'd been throwing himself into his studies without any reminders, like he'd sworn that night when confessing his feelings. John, since you said yes, I'm never letting go. This time, we're staying together forever. His fiery determination had intensified this lifetime. I no longer needed to constantly monitor his emotional state. My current priorities were figuring out why he'd kissed Ryan that day and stabilizing his mental health to prevent his destined death. But right now, Ryan concerned me more. Having known him 3 years, I understood his vindictive nature. My fears materialized that afternoon when he volunteered my name for the intercollegiate basketball exhibition match, knowing full well I'd never handled a ball properly. Let me play instead. Alex immediately interjected upon hearing my name. John doesn't do sports. Ryan smiled innocently. John's always holed up in the dorm. Consider this exercise. I recognized his attempt to humiliate me. This man I'd once idolized as my first love now revealed himself as a master manipulator hiding behind pleasantries. Alex bristled, ready to confront him. But I stopped him. It's fine, Alex. On the court, one opponent eyed me with open contempt. Mid-game, he suddenly slammed the ball into my face. Blood gushed from my nose as dizziness overwhelmed me. Through ringing ears, I heard Alex's panicked John. Before collapsing, I awoke in the infirmary to Ryan's concerned gaze. John, thank God you're awake. I never meant for this to. Nasal pain shot through me with every breath, likely broken. The breeze carrying grassy sunlight through the window mirrored that summer day in my past life when I'd first opened my eyes to Ryan after heatstroke, and foolishly lost my heart. This time, I looked past him. Where's Alex? Why isn't he here when I wake up? John froze for a moment, suppressing the discomfort in his eyes. It was me who carried you here. Someone like him only knows how to fight. How could he genuinely care about you? Ryan always found subtle ways to disparage Alex around me. As if terrified of the connection between Alex and me, I stayed silent, leaning closer to inhale Ryan's scent. This time, it was different from my past life. He wasn't the one who'd carried me. The person I'd loved had never been him. That crisp, grassy fragrance, I'd only ever smelled it on Alex. I knew Alex had been the one to bring me here. Remembering Ryan's impersonation and the tragedy of my previous life, I couldn't help but harden my expression. Ryan, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be with someone you love. But I don't understand what you're so afraid of. All I know is that if you keep lying, we won't even remain friends. Don't make me resent you. Covering my nose, I stood up. In my past life, I'd loved the wrong person and misplaced my heart. This time, I wouldn't let him slip away again. When I spotted Alex around the corner, I nearly rolled my eyes hearing him mutter to himself. System, how much progress remains before I break free from the plot completely? Congratulations, host. You've achieved 95% plot independence. Are you certain about abandoning your role as the main love interest's rival to be with John, a mere side character, and live as an ordinary person? Alex chuckled carelessly. No second thoughts. If John isn't my protagonist, I don't want any of it. I'm not some main love interest, just Alex. The system seemed hesitant. Host, you spent a lifetime's worth of effort to reset everything. Even if he remains bound by the plot forever? Even if he never returns your feelings, you'd still choose this? Alex's voice lightened as if discussing trivial matters. No regrets. In our past life, I wasn't strong enough to fully resist the plot when I kissed Ryan and drove John away. But this time, his lips curved faintly at memories of our recent interactions. He won't escape me. If there's even a sliver of hope that John might stop loving Ryan, I'll take it. However faint the chance, I'll gamble everything. My mind reeled. The soccer ball must have knocked something loose. How else could I suddenly hear this? My rebirth. Alex had traded his life for it. No wonder this version of him felt so different from before. Carrying burdens no teenager should bear. He'd been reborn too. My obsession with Ryan in the past life, had that been scripted all along? Even Alex's kiss, forced by the plot? If our entire world followed some predetermined narrative, was any of this real? Was I even myself anymore? Before I could process this, a rustle betrayed my presence. Alex stiffened. John. You. A sharp pain shot through my mind and nose, sending jolts through my nerves. I couldn't stop backing away. Alex? Who were you talking to just now? What's this about plotlines and main characters? Alex still held the ice pack meant for me. His face paled at my question. You can hear them? I wasn't faring much better either. Frustrated, I waved my hand dismissively. Sorry? I need to sort this out. I turned to leave, but suddenly found myself engulfed in Alex's embrace. John, don't go. He pleaded hoarsely, face twisted with fear. I didn't mean to keep this from you. Stay. Please don't abandon me like before. I'll tell you everything. Just don't push me away. Don't leave. His choked sobs somehow calmed my racing thoughts. Whether I was some side character or John himself, it didn't matter. He'd chosen me over whatever script controlled our lives. If he could fight fate for me, why couldn't I embrace this madness for him? Seeing the raw desperation in his red-rimmed eyes, I acted on impulse. My lips brushed against his cheekbone as I thumbed away his tear. Guess I might care more than I thought. Alex. His breath hitched when I said it. Before I could react, he lunged forward like a starved wolf, hand cradling my skull as he crushed our mouths together. The kiss turned savage, all teeth and claiming pressure. Though my nose throbbed and air grew scarce, I clung to his waist, letting him take what he needed. When we finally broke apart gasping, his lips glistened cherry red. I pressed a finger to them, smirking. Had enough? Or will you keep calling me that nuisance in your journal? Alex froze. Several heartbeats passed before understanding dawned. You came back too? At my nod, his grip tightened painfully on my wrist. The mechanical voice we'd both heard earlier crackled to life. Frowny face host. Temporal displacement occurred when John gained sentience after your death, disrupting narrative parameters. Alex stared before laughing wetly, arms locking around me like steel bands. So you cared even then? He murmured against my shoulder. Worth dying for after all. I nudged his chin up. Still waiting. Why the nickname? He flushed, mumbling into my collarbone. You hated me. Back then. Then what now? Still going to call me a jerk? Alex leaned in, trying to kiss me again after seeing my smile. I turned my head away, refusing the kiss unless he answered. His cheeks flushed as he averted his gaze. Now that you like me, you won't call me annoying guy? He seemed embarrassed to continue. I pressed closer. Then what should I call you? Alex glared at me in mock frustration before finally muttering through clenched teeth. Husband. My blood ran cold. Alex explained the system had appeared when he first developed feelings for me, revealing he was this world's main protagonist. The system existed to help him make choices preserving world peace. Yet the progress bar remained at 95% with one final condition unmet. Remembering his tombstone from our previous life, I pinned him against the wall. Did you kill yourself last time just to get a second chance? He turned his head to kiss my wrist trapped near his face. The ticklish sensation didn't make me release him. Even now, the memory of Alex's death clawed at my composure. His fingertips brushed my cheek. Partly for that. Partly because living without you became unbearable. Unrequited love destroys people. John. This time, I wanted to try properly. John. I can't exist without you. Promise you'll only love me from now on? When I remained silent, Alex's eyes grew anxious. I even followed your stupid study hard lectures. Don't I deserve any reward? Who knew the fearsome school bully could be this adorable? Hiding my smile, I pressed. If you like me, why constantly pick fights? His grip on my hand tightened. Because that's how I got your attention. My resolve melted. Leaning down, I kissed his eyelids beneath his startled gaze. Your reward. Alex immediately pounced. Not enough. I want more. Later. Nursing my swollen lips, I cursed internally. This damn wolf cup. Our public displays proved too brazen. Within a week of dating, kissing photos flooded the campus forum alongside vicious comments. The university summoned us, citing concerns about institutional reputation despite college-level dating freedoms. Two men together remains controversial. Think of the school's image. Regret twisted my gut. Seasoned adults should have anticipated paparazzi. Professor, I assure you our relationship won't harm the university. Loving someone, regardless of gender, is our right. We'll identify the photographer and resolve this. Leaving the office, Alex tried putting distance between us. Guilt-stricken, I yanked him back by the wrist. Stop hiding. I'll handle this. His grip tightened around mine, determination hardening his gaze. John, if things get worse, I'll have your back. I'll make enough money to take care of you. I pinched his earlobe. Then I'll have to trouble you, Alex. But first, let's put on a little show together. I didn't give Alex time to react. Pushing him toward the restroom, I pressed him against the wall. His face flushed crimson, but he defiantly looped his arms around my neck. You want to lure out the stalker with the camera, right? How about we make this more convincing? Before I could answer, his knee nudged upward against my thigh, heat pooled in my stomach, my throat going tight. I was about to teach him a lesson when Alex suddenly shoved me away, lunging toward a shadowed corner. He dragged back a cowering figure and kicked him hard. Enjoy the show, Ryan? Ryan curled into himself. Pain etched across his pale features. I wasn't surprised. If he was the protagonist's destined love in Alex's story, how could he ever accept me stealing the spotlight? Alex snatched the phone from Ryan's grip and smashed it against the sink. Shards scattered like glitter. Our noble student council president? Alex sneered, acting like a sewer rat with a camera. Ryan's gentle facade shattered. He glared at me before fixing desperate eyes on Alex. From birth, I've known I'm the main character. You and I were supposed to be inevitable. So why? His voice cracked. Why do you only see John? Why does everyone who's ever loved me suddenly chase after you? He clutched his head. This isn't how it's meant to be. Alex snorted. Save the monologue. He reached for my hand, but I stopped him. Wait, let me talk to him alone. My uncharacteristically soft tone made Alex blush. He left reluctantly, shooting Ryan one last scowl. I crouched before the trembling senior. Ryan, there are better ways to love someone than this. He laughed bitterly, knees drawn to his chest. John, I didn't know what else to do. I thought if I broke you two apart, his red-rimmed eyes met mine. Why did you win anyway? The raw desperation mirrored my own past life, that grotesque version of myself shaped by fate's cruel script. If you can't even say I love you to his face, I said quietly, how could he ever choose you? Silent longing is just tragedy waiting to happen. No one's destined to be a side character. Ryan. We're all protagonists in our own stories. He stared at the broken phone. Do you regret becoming this? I asked. When he didn't answer, I stood. Think about it. Alex was pacing outside. The moment he saw me, sunlight returned to his features. Shivering slightly, I buried my face in his chest. John, you have no idea how terrified I was just now. I whispered against his heartbeat. Scared I'd lose you. Scared I'd fall back into old patterns with Ryan. His fingers tangled in my hair as Alex pulled me closer. When I finally looked up, those hazel eyes held decades of devotion. Alex, I vowed, tracing his jawline. I'm never leaving again. You're my forever. The campus quieted as seniors began moving out. Ryan's farewell text arrived at dawn, a single sentence glowing on my screen. You were braver than me, John. Be happy. The moment I read it, that mechanical voice I'd hated for years chimed congratulations. Freedom achieved 100%. System disengaging. Alex tackled me before the notification faded. Why now? He demanded between frantic kisses. Later, when we lay breathless on sun-warmed sheets, he understood. Ryan's final act of letting go had shattered the last chains. We were all free. Time accelerated through our final semesters. Alex still insisted on naming our startup Wilson and Carter Enterprises. I found myself pinned beneath him on our office couch months later, his teeth grazing my throat. John, he growled playfully. Can't you see? Wilson and Carter. Your name wrapped around mine, it's our forever brand. The kiss that followed left us both gasping. When his wandering hands slipped beneath my belt, I arched against him. You're insatiable. I laughed, even as my fingers worked open his shirt buttons. Blame your stupid sexy brain. Alex countered, nipping my earlobe. Coming up with couple branding that makes me hard during board meetings? Mike found us still disheveled at the office next morning. His wolf whistle echoed through the lobby. Save it for the honeymoon? Lovebirds. We were still flipping him off when the elevator doors opened. A sea of sunflowers greeted us, every employee holding blooms. Confetti suddenly rained down as Alex dropped to one knee, platinum band glinting in his trembling hand. Later, they'd tease us about the security camera footage, how I yanked him up for a kiss before he could finish the speech, how the ring tumbled forgotten as we crashed into a conference table. But in that suspended moment, there was only Alex's tear-streaked grin and the deafening roar of our future. Mr. John Wilson, I wasn't part of your past, but I swear I'll be there every step of your future. So Mr. John, would you give Alex the chance to walk through your tomorrows? I want to be part of every sunrise you'll ever see. I stared at him breathlessly, my pulse roaring in my ears. Every hardship I'd endured suddenly felt insignificant. With trembling hands, I roughly shoved the ring onto my own finger before grabbing Alex's collar and crushing our lips together in a desperate kiss. Alex, I whispered against his mouth, our tears mingling. Better get used to having me around for the long haul. Love always finds its way. Even the most hopeless secret admirers will eventually see their patience bloom into forever.